Welcome back to another Fantasy 4 episode. We're doing tight ends rankings, and we'll start at Travis Kelce.
All right, at number one, we have Travis Kelce, who's been the top tight end the past 4 years. He is the best tight end option and is very efficient and very durable. And in the Chiefs' high-powered offense, Travis Kelce, he's kind of like the foundation of that receiving core, and he's always finished at the top in terms of fantasy.
All right, at number two, we got my boy George Kittle. He's easily the number one pass option for Jimmy G. The 49ers are a run-heavy offense, but when they pass it, it's either going to the tight ends or the fullbacks. In my opinion, he's the top fantasy tight end. Might be a little biased, but he had 85 receptions in 2019. I think we can expect that for him, and I think he will increase his touchdown numbers as well in this year.
At number three, we have Zach Ertz. Ertz managed to put up a really solid season, finishing top 4. Ertz hasn't finished lower than 5th in targets, 6th in receptions, or 7th in yardage at the position since 2014. He still gets his production in scoring, and that shouldn't change. Dallas Goedert, however, is a bit of a concern, but Ertz is still Carson Wentz's number one tight end, and I expect another top 5 finish this season.
For Mark Andrews, he had 10 touchdowns last season, so you should expect a little bit of regression in that number. No more Hayden Hearst, though, which is super good for Mark Andrews. He ranked 40th last season in the tight end position for snaps, which is pretty low, especially for such a great tight end in Mark Andrews. But he still had a 25% target share. So that's highly efficient with their snaps, especially with Hayden Hearst gone now. He's probably going to get a lot more snaps, which can lead to a lot more targets. His floor is pretty high, in my opinion. And, I mean, he has the upside to be the number one tight end this year. I like Mark Andrews.
At number 5, we have Darren Waller. Last year, he had 90 receptions and over 1,000 yards, but he lacked in the touchdown department with only 3. Derek Carr likes throwing to his tight ends. A couple years ago, he made Jared Cook fantasy relevant. So I think this year, Darren Waller, if he improves in the touchdown department, he can make a jump to the top 3 tight ends.
6, Evan Engram. He has the talent. He just needs to be able to stay on the field. Last season, he played 8 games, which is really disappointing. But in his 8 games, 5 of which he finished as a top 10 tight end, which is really great. He has a lot of upside if he stays healthy. He just needs to stay on the field.
At number 7, we have Hunter Henry. When he is active, he's productive, with him being a machine in the end zone. 17 touchdowns and 25 end zone targets in 41 games. That's incredible. But however, durability has always been a concern. He has yet to play all 16 games in a season, and the departure of Rivers is also kind of concerning. But when he plays, he's a tight end 1.
All right, at number 8, we got Rob Gronkowski now on the Buccaneers coming out of retirement. He's back with Tom Brady, so obviously that connection is back. I think he's bound to be a top tight end, but I also think that he's just only going to be a red zone threat. I don't think he'll get thrown to a lot just going up and down the field. And also there's going to be durability issues just because he's been out for 2 years, and even before he retired, he was injury prone. And we have Tyler Higbee on the Rams. He's the top tight end on the Rams easily. And in the second half of last year, he was Goff's go-to target. He had 69 receptions in 2019, with the majority of those coming in the second half. And I think he can keep it up going into 2020, and let's hope he can, because we have him at the number 9 spot in tight ends.
Number 10 is Austin Hooper. He's on the Browns this year, which is a little disappointing considering he was a beast last year on the Falcons with Matt Ryan. But, I mean, Baker loves his tight ends. Kevin Stefanski's going to find ways to get Austin Hooper the ball, especially in the red zone. He's the Browns' biggest red zone threat, in my opinion. There's a lot of talent around him, so he's not going to see the coverage he did in Atlanta. It's going to be a lot easier for him. He's going to get open on a lot of his routes.
At number 11, we have Jared Cook. He has become one of Drew Brees' primary targets. His 11 end zone targets tied for most among tight ends and 8th in the league. He had 9 touchdowns, which tied for 4th. But with so many offensive weapons on the Saints, it's hard to tell what production he's going to produce for this year. I put him as a fringe top 10 tight end.
At number 12, we have Hayden Hearst. The former first-round draft pick has moved on to Atlanta, and he's taken over Austin Hooper's role, and he's going to take over the 75 receptions and 6 touchdowns that Hooper had, and I believe that he can make a run to be a tight end 1.
13, Mike Gesicki. He now has Tua, which is good. I see improvement there, but there's just too much uncertainty on the Dolphins right now. He's worth a late round snag, but I wouldn't have too high of expectations for Mike.
All right, at number 14, we have Noah Fant from the Broncos. Honestly, I think he is a good, solid tight end option, especially with Drew Lock. I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. I just think the Broncos, he's not even close to the top option on the Broncos offense. So it's just uncertainty around how many receptions is he going to get and how many touches is he going to get this year.
At number 15, we have Jack Doyle. With the departure of Eric Ebron, I feel like Jack Doyle can get back to his 80 reception year that he had before Eric Ebron came in. And now with Eric Ebron on Pittsburgh, Jack Doyle becomes the number 1 tight end in Indianapolis.
At number 16, we have Eric Ebron. He's now signed with the Steelers. It's kind of hard to tell how well he's going to do because he still has to compete with Vance McDonald for that top receiving tight end. But he, in my opinion, he's been kind of like on and off. He has good games. He has bad games. I think he's best viewed as a mid tight end 2.
17, Dallas Goedert. He doesn't have much upside behind Ertz. I personally wouldn't draft him. I believe he should be on the waiver wire. He just has no upside. Unless Ertz gets injured, he's not really a viable option.
At number 18, we have Jonnu Smith. He's taking over Delaney Walker, and so the lack of volume on the Titans puts him at a low tight end 2.
All right, at number 19, we have TJ Hawkinson, one rookie that I was really high on last year. I don't think he's a very valuable tight end. I think if Matthew Stafford comes back completely healthy, he might be able to put up some decent numbers, but he's just a low-end tight end too.
At number 20, we have Jimmy Graham, who's now on the Chicago Bears. And it's very interesting because Matt Nagy, the head coach, came over from being the Chiefs offensive coordinator. And Trey Burton was supposed to fill that Travis Kelce role, but he didn't really live up to the hype. So I feel like they went out and got Jimmy Graham and to fit that role to see what he can do.
21, Blake Jarwin. Witten's gone now on the Cowboys, but I don't see much upside with Jarwin. It's hard to improve as the 4th player on the target chart for Dak Prescott.
At number 22, we have Chris Herndon. A couple years ago, he kind of showed up in the second half of the year with Sam Darnold. They had a chemistry going, but then last year he was suspended at the start of the season and was injured all of last year. So we don't know how he's gonna come back from his injury last year.
And at number 23, we have Irv Smith Jr. With the departure of Stephon Diggs, he could see a boost in target share, but he still got to compete with Kyle Rudolph, and that will limit his ceiling. But in my opinion, he's a tight end 2.
And that wraps up our tight end rankings. Come back next time, and we'll start a new series called Draft Duos.